Hello everybody and welcome back to A Royal Reader. My name is Cece and today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I have read recently. It's currently March. It's the 3rd of March. And I'm sitting at about 3 books read for the entire year, which is not going great. So instead of this being like a monthly wrap-up, this is like a recent reads wrap-up type of thing because I have not read that many books. Let's just get into this. So the very first book that I actually completed was back in January, I believe, and I struggled real hard. I've been dealing with a almost 3-month-long reading slump, which has not been the best, but you know, we're making our way through. So the first book that I read was in fact Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is the first book in what was originally a trilogy and has now moved on to like a 6-book series. But I believe the last 3 books of this series are spin-offs. I could possibly be wrong, but anyway, this is a adult sci-fi, I guess you could say. We follow our main character Darrow, who is part of this massive caste system, I guess you could say. He is what you call a red, and in this world, in this society that Darrow lives in, reds are the lowest of the lows. So they live underground on the planet of Mars, and their job is to try and like excavate the dirt, the land of Mars, I guess you could say, in order to make it habitable for the rest of society, the rest of the humans. It obviously then goes up to different colors until we reach the top, which is where we have the gold, who are like the richest people. They have like all the best equipment, housing, food, so on and so forth. So we follow Darrow, and the beginning of this story is quite hard and it is sad. I don't want to explain exactly what happens, but through a series of circumstances, Darrow finds out that his basically entire life has been a lie, and the surface of Mars is actually habitable, and there are people living on it, and there has been for God knows how long. So Darrow then takes it upon himself to basically infiltrate the Golds and take down their whole society from within. So that is the premises of Red Rising in itself. There is a whole other aspect of this book that I was not expecting that is very trial based and school sort of based in a way. I don't want to explain too much because it does go into a little bit of spoilers, but I actually really enjoyed this. I was shook multiple times. And considering as it's a sci-fi and I don't read that much sci-fi, I found myself enjoying it quite a lot. There are like, I guess, nods towards like Greek mythology and Roman mythology, I guess you could say. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Do be warned though, if you do decide to pick this up, this book is gory as hell. And it was something that I was not expecting, but it's gory, real gory. I did pick up the second book, which is called The Golden Sun, but unfortunately the reading slump hit real hard in the middle of me reading that, so I unfortunately did not finish it, but I do plan on picking up the rest of the series at some point, God knows when. 4 out of 5 stars, first sci-fi, first adult sci-fi ever, so yeah. It was cool. The next book that I actually finished was in fact my reread of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I tabbed the hell out of this and it was just such a good old fun time, and I really enjoyed getting to read the like beginning story of Feyre. I have only read up to A Court of Mist and Fury, so I still have to complete the rest of the series, and I am doing a reread so I can get to finally A Court of Silver Flames. So yes, hopefully the TBR for the next couple of months will be kind to me. But so far I read this, it was good, it was awesome. It's a lot sadder than I thought. So yeah, if you don't know what this is about, where have you been? But essentially, Court of Thorns and Roses is a Beauty and the Beast retelling at its center, but there is other aspects of this that sort of expand the world and make it into a much more intensive fantasy world that Sarah J Maas is just incredible at explaining and revealing. We follow our main character Feyre Archeron, I think is how you pronounce her last name. I could possibly be wrong. She is the main care provider for her family. She is the hunter that goes out and gets food for them in the middle of the winter and stuff like that. One day she comes across this really large wolf and she decides that she's going to kill it so that her family can have food for quite a while, as well as using the wolf's skin as, you know, form of clothing and stuff like that. A couple of days later, some big fairy comes knocking on the door saying, "You killed my person. You're gonna come with me and live with me as a result of punishment." So Feyre actually ended up killing a fae that was disguised as a wolf. So she then gets taken to the Spring Court by a fae called Tamlin, and she basically lives out her life there. I don't want to go into too many more details because it does go into a little bit of like spoiler territory, but nonetheless, this book is so good. So incredibly good. Definitely one of my favorite series of all time. Sarah J Maas is one of my favorite authors of all time. So yes, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars like I did the first time I read it. And yeah, Lucian will forever remain my favorite sad boy. And the last book that I managed to read, I did actually finish on the 1st of March, but shh, no one is going to know. That's going to be Deadly Dreams by KJ Sutton. This is the 3rd book in the Fortuna Swan series. This is a very dark, high fantasy adult romance book. That was a very long-winded explanation, but you know what I'm trying to say. In this, we follow our main character, Fortuna Swan, who is a mythical being called a nightmare. She has the ability to make you see and feel your worst nightmares, and at the beginning of the 1st book, it has been 2 years since her younger brother Damon went missing, and she is trying her hardest to find him. She has no leads whatsoever until a fae comes along and says, "I know where your brother is, but you have to marry me before I can take you to him." Fortuna absolutely hates the fae, but it's the first sort of hint she has had in over 2 years, so she agrees and ends up going to the Unseelie Court. There it evolves into something that is much more difficult to try to explain, so I'll just leave it there. But this book is definitely an amazing read. It will pull at your heartstrings, but do be warned, there is plenty of content warnings. It's gory, it's a little bit dubious consent and things like that, but the characters are some of the best that I have read in a while. Plus, this book is also self-published, so I do want to support people that are in the self-published fantasy romance genre, because I may possibly be one of them at some point one day. So I want to show my support as much as I can. 3rd book, oh, talk about angst. That is literally the biggest point of contention of this book. It was just full, utter angst, and my heart cannot take any more. The ending of this really had me shook, and I cannot wait for the 4th book to come out. I don't know when it's coming out, but I will get my hands on it immediately. And yeah, please go and read this. Please, just do it. Just do it. Just do yourself a favor and read it, please. So those are the 3 books that I have currently officially finished, because there's like 5 other books that I have read up to like 50 pages in and I still have not completed them. So yeah, let me know how your TBRs are currently going. As you can probably tell, mine is just a complete and utter mess, and probably will continue to be a complete and utter mess, but you know, we're making our way through it. Let me know what some of your favorite books are that you have read so far. I still have not really read a favorite, but you know, I've had a good couple of good couple of books. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, please don't hesitate to click that subscribe button down below. If you'd like to see more of me, then be sure to check down in the description box. I have my social media links always listed down there, so do go ahead and give me a follow so we can become friends. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in another video later on.